Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining Oriflamme Ablaze. So this is Oriflamme Ablaze. I've set the game up as a 3-player game, as the game has a 3-player minimum. For those who have gone looking for this video, this is a remake. The original, I guess, just got lost, so this is now being put in. If you're wondering why it's so far removed from the introduction, this is a remake of the original video. So this will be a Gamesplay and Gamesplayed in the same video, so please travel with me. So the very first thing that happens when you're setting up is you pull the twin card out of your deck and keep that in front of you. You'll keep the bribery token in front of you as well. You will then, out of your whole deck, take 3 cards and discard them. So everyone's deck of 7 cards now will have slightly different cards in them. Each card does something slightly different. The way we play is you take a card. I'm not even going to look at it or think about it. So just take a card and place it down in the line. This tells you which direction the line is going to action, but you can place it at the front or the back of the line. Each player does this in turn. Let's throw that one in. As I say, I'm not even looking at what's going in. I'm just putting stuff in, and we'll see what happens. When you place a card in, they can be placed at either the front or the back of the line. It doesn't matter which. At the very beginning of the game, you must place your first card in on one of those locations. Once that has happened, we then start at the front of the line and give each player the choice of turning their card over or leaving their card secret. If the player has forgotten what their card is, they are by all means allowed to have a look without showing other players what their card is. So this card has put down an Impersonator, which is going to eliminate an adjacent card, replace it with the same card. So he doesn't know what that card is, so he's going to leave that face down for the moment. When you leave a card face down, you'll put a marker on it. That marker is an influence marker. The winner of the game is the person who has the most of those markers in their own personal bank at the end of the game. Any on cards do not count. It's then Blue's turn. Blue has pulled the Queen. So Blue is going to flick that over, which now means that Blue is going to gain 2 influence every turn that the Queen is still on board. And then Green has pulled that card and we'll leave that face down because that's a trap. So it's been set for anyone of the other players to eliminate. Then Green becomes the first player. So Green will now choose one of his cards and put them down. So he knows that's a trap. He knows where the Queen is. He really wants to get rid of the Queen. So he might put this card out, which is going to allow him to put a marker on that Queen and basically take all of the stuff that Queen should have. Red can see the Queen and would really like to get rid of the Queen. This Impersonator allows him to eliminate an adjacent card and then replace it with the same character of his own. Notice it's from the discard, eliminated, or set aside cards. So I'll put that back down there. He doesn't have the Queen in his hand, so it actually might be worth his while to open that one up. What he might do is actually play the Apothecary, and he'll play him just there. And then we come to Blue. Blue is going to want to protect his Queen, so he thinks he's going to play that card and have a guess. So what that's going to allow him to do is eliminate another card. We start this end. He is going to flip that over straight away, which is eliminate a card adjacent to another card of your family. This card is in his family, and he's going to choose to eliminate that one, which means this token goes back into the box. That card is flipped over. It's Impersonation, and that now gains 1 for the Blue, and that has been discarded. So we'll just put that face up in a discard pile just there. The discarded cards stay face up so everyone can see what has been discarded from your hand. The gap is now closed. It's now up to this player who has the Apothecary, which is eliminate something adjacent to one of your cards. He doesn't have any more cards on the board, so there's no point in turning that one up just yet. So he will add that. Then we come through to the green player who has a bribery. And what he might do is flick that over and throw his bribery counter on that queen, which now allows him to basically get the income of that queen. That's the queen, which should go to blue, but it's going to go to green instead because of the bribery counter. And then, so that was the queen's action. Then this one is going to stay closed because that's a trap. We now move on to the next one. In this round, he thinks he might throw that in. Blue thinks he's going to throw that one in at the front. Green thinks he's going to play the Felon, which each player will lose one for each adjacent card. So he's going to place that just there. Okay, and once again, we reveal. So he is going to flip that card straight over, which means blue loses one of his. Blue placed that, and he thinks he'll actually flip that one over. So he's going to gain an influence by having that card flipped over. As soon as either this one or this one becomes a pile, he'll have to delete that card. Okay, this card eliminates something next to one of the family members, and he thinks he's going to eliminate that card, which goes back to green, and he will get 1 point for doing that. So each time he manages to get rid of a card, he'll get a point. Then into the red, which also can eliminate something. It'd be that card there if he does. So he thinks he might flip that over, take the point, eliminate a card next to another family member, which is next to this one. So he's going to eliminate that card. So this goes back into the box. And that is a trap that has been eliminated. If the trap is eliminated by an opponent, discard the opponent's card. So the one that eliminated was this one. So he discards that and steal 3 from that opponent. And that then goes back. So he takes whatever the opponent has. Oh, that card should have been discarded when it was played. So I do apologize. So we then come to the queen. The queen pays out 2 points to the green because of that bribery counter. And then we come to this card. I'm going to take the bribery from the green because that token actually says that the character now belongs to the other family. So that character now belongs to the green, which means that green would have to pay the bribery. I believe that is correct. There's nothing in the rules specifically to state that, but I believe that is correct. And then this moves along and we go on to the next round. We'll put the prince out, which brings this twin out. He can put the twin on either end. He will put the twin down here. Then we go to green, and he thinks that might be worthwhile placing this guy just there. And red is going to place this guy. And what he's going to do is actually going to place that on top. Now notice, you're allowed to stack cards, which now saves the card that's underneath, but means that this player, or this card, when we get through to it, will action. If someone kills this card is still available. If the cards happen to be face down, sorry, those 2 cards should have been placed in face down. This one does get placed in face up. But if this happened to be placed on top of one of the face down cards, that had some of these markers on the back of it, then the markers get covered. So they're still there. So when that card gets revealed, the markers can still come to the appropriate person. Okay, moving on. So green now can choose the Cutthroat, eliminate an adjacent card. He thinks he might leave that down till he sees what that card is. Of course, that might be a trap. This player now reveals that, and he's going to flip that over. And he's going to gain that, and he'll actually put that at this end. So he gains 1, which is just there. Then we go to the schema. Neither of these are stacked, so the schema gains 1. Eliminate a card adjacent to another card of your family. This is a card of the same family, so he's going to eliminate that card, which gains him a point. We come through to the Queen, which gains 2 for the green player. Then we come to the red, and green will lose 1 for this, and blue will lose 1 for that. And then blue is gaining 1 for the twin. And then we move on. I think that gives you enough of an idea of how the game plays. I'm going to really quickly run through what each card is and what it does, just for your reference if you haven't managed to pick up the elements. So if you've picked up enough of the game, here is a good spot to leave me. But otherwise, hang on and I will just run through what is in each deck. The game runs for 6 rounds, by the way. So when you get to the end of the 6th round, you'll have 1 card left in your hand. That's the end of the game. So running through what each of the cards does. First up, we have the Prince. When the Prince is revealed, and this is the same with all the cards, if they're face down, you just add a thing to the back, token to the back of them. And when they get revealed, the person who owns the card takes all the tokens. But once it's revealed, it's gaining 1 token for every turn once it's revealed. When you do reveal it, you also place the twin in on either end of the lineup. When you get through to the twin, he will also gain 1. The issue is that when one of these 2 cards is eliminated, then both of the cards are eliminated. Then we have the Queen. She will bring in 2 points for every time that she's revealed. If an opponent eliminates the Queen, will gain a point as well. Then we come through to the Cutthroat. So the Cutthroat is going to eliminate an adjacent card and all the cards of the same name. So if that was there and there happened to be a Queen, let's pretend the Queen is of another player. If this one is taken out, this one is also taken out. And then the Cutthroat would gain the coins for 2 eliminations plus whatever's on the card. Just imagine this is a different player, not the same player as the Cutthroat, by the way. The Apothecary eliminates a card adjacent to another family member. So if there was a family member here and you came through the Apothecary, he would use this card to eliminate either that one or that one. If there are no other cards from that family, the Apothecary does nothing. Then we come to the Felon. Each player loses 1 for each adjacent card of their family. I may have misplayed this earlier. The losing should actually take it into the bank, not to the actual player who has the Felon. So if this is here, blue would lose 1 of their markers. The Schemer, we discard her if she's adjacent to a stack. So if a player actually has a stack there and the Schemer happens to be there, there's 2 in that stack, so she's totally discarded. But while they're singles next to her, she gains 1 of these every time through. So that was all the character cards. Then we come to the Intrigue cards. So the character cards stay. The Intrigue cards get taken out once they've been played. So with this one, this is Impersonation. And what it is eliminate the player next to you. So for example, if this was played here and flipped over, eliminate the twin of the blue card and replace it with his own. Now, because that twin was eliminated, that would actually eliminate the Prince as well. And the Impersonator would gain 2 because he's actually managed to get rid of 2 things, and that then comes off the board once it's been played. Then we have the Plot. So best play for this one is to play it face down and just build up the number of markers on the back of it, because when you flip that over, you're getting rid of the Plot card. But what that allows you to do is for each of the markers on the back of your Plot card, they can either be gained, so just pull them in, or you can discard them to do another action. So for example, if the red player had the Queen there, you could use 1 to gain 2. And you could do that every time that you've got a marker on the back of that Plot card. So theoretically, those 4 markers would turn into 8. Then there's the Trap. So the trap will sit there face down. You'll just continually add markers to the back of it. Someone at some point will very likely cause that card to be discarded. When it is discarded, the player who discarded it gains one of the coins. So that would go on to blue because he discarded it. The red player, the person who owns it, then gains 3 coins from the player who set the trap off. If the trap was set off by an apothecary, that wouldn't cause anyone to die because it only happens on the cards next to it. So the apothecary would gain the coin, but it wouldn't set that off. And the final card is the bribery card. When you play the bribery card, what happens is you place your family marker on one of the cards like the green one has here. So let's just pretend that's not there, put that there. And that now means that this queen belongs to red. So every time down the line, red will take that. If there's any changes or anything that happens on that or any costs for having a card, then that would be paid by red as well. That is all the cards that are in Oriflamme Ablaze. This can be matched with the original Oriflamme. I don't have that, so I'm not going to run through that, but it can combine with those cards if you are familiar with that game. I will leave it there. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you would like to be Gamesplaned, please shoot me an email to thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter @thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games that I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.